After he dreamt, I had a dream that people such as ourselves could build and build and build on something that was greater than wealth. No more war is going to be seen from these eyes. No more blood, I cry, I cry, I cry. Tell me, what is us if we're not united in the state of love? And what is peace if we're divided in every corner of the world? After he dreamt, I had a dream. I seen a nation rise beyond those things that were done before. No more prejudice is going to be seen from these eyes. No more hurt inside, inside, inside. Instead, we will rely on one another as man and woman, sisters and brothers, to go forth and educate those who feel that it is too late. After he dreamt, I had a dream. A star appeared to me. It was gleaming bright. It exited humanity to a place of delight. No more poverty is going to be seen from these eyes. Only justice shall be applied, applied, applied. Remarkable is how we should be described. By becoming overachievers, our limit does not cease to the sky. After he dreamt, I had a dream. The ocean gave up its secrets and treasures to a motivated movement of all mankind. No more avarice is going to sink us down. No more greed will be found on this side, this side, this side. On this side, we shall lay down our swords beside the shores where our fathers died, the land of the pilgrim pride. After he dreamt, I had a dream. The wind met with the air, and they whistled through the waterfalls as they both declare, from now on, no more storms will be seen from our eyes. As long as we share this place together, we shall live and not die. We shall live and not die. Build a new pride, educate those who have not tried, and then, and only then, will dreams become alive. I had a dream.
To me, MLK is a role model because even though the civil rights movement is officially, technically over, we can vote, we have our rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. We still go through troubles every single day. You see it right now in the media. We're still fighting for political equality. So he's a role model. He's someone for people my age, people millennials, Generation Z, people who are just now being born, people who are in preschool. They're going to grow up and they're going to learn about him, and they're going to learn about how you can make change. It doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't have to be hurtful.
He didn't just look at people with his physical eyes, he looked at people with the eyes of his heart. He had a heart for people. All people were his brothers and sisters. We were all part of one human race. And he knew that in his life, he might not be able to completely eradicate that suffering for people, but he did know that we can help alleviate that suffering.
Martin Luther King Jr. is important to me on so many levels. For one, as a female in the military, he stood up for equality, and being able to serve alongside other men and women throughout the military and go different places, that's very important to me. I don't think without his dream and being implemented into our world, we would never be here today where we are at as far as growing as a unity within the military. He also fought for peace and justice for everyone, no matter the color of their skin, their nationalities, or where they come from, or how they look, but he judged them off their heart.
My grandpa, he was a farm laborer in California where they faced injustices, and Dr. King was an inspiration to Cesar Chavez, who, along with Larry Leong, were the leaders for the Delano grape strike. From his nonviolent actions and bravery, he inspired them to lead also nonviolent protests. And this led to better living conditions, working conditions, and wages for these farm workers. It allowed me today to live a better life than what it could have been. And Dr. King also sent a telegram to Cesar Chavez saying, our separate struggles are really the same.
Well, his I Have a Dream speech was about his life, and it embodied his struggles and what he went through in his life.
His speech over in 1963 over in Washington, D.C. kind of helped solidify himself as one of the best speakers in history.
It's important because it called out injustices, and he also referenced the Constitution, saying that all Americans have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's something, being in the Navy, something that we have sworn to uphold and defend.
His perseverance through all the times of turmoil and darkness, he came through it. And so that development, as you can see through his life, is so important to me.
The repetition of him saying, I have a dream, really resonates with me and a lot of people I grew up with, just knowing that whatever we put our minds to, we could achieve that dream. In his case, it was freedom of speech, but also civil rights, equality for all.
As you look at what Martin Luther King had done with his efforts to have nonviolent protests, I supported those. I think that's the absolute way to go. You look at his I Have a Dream speech, you know, you listen to what happened there and how much followers that he's had over the years. I think that's been really a remarkable occurrence. When he was assassinated, I was a sergeant when I was at Memphis, if you will, in Millington, Tennessee, because I came back as a corporal, got promoted to sergeant, and then one of my collateral duties was that as a squad leader. So all of a sudden, after he was assassinated in April 1968, we got called out to an assembly area, and we were there from, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, 2 in the morning, practicing you know, basically riot control skills with fixed bayonets on M1s, ammo, gas masks, what have you. And I was really worried about having to shoot an American, which I would never do. And so I was kind of conflicted, if you will, as to what I was going to do if I were called out to do that.
Well, Dr. King symbolized the epitome of a man who could dream as big as he would like to, just opportunities and all types of situations where you could overcome difficulties in life, and just in general, just someone who represents a chance to become whatever you set out to be in this great country.
You know, you look at Antifa today, you look at the Black Lives Matter, you look at all the protest groups that are out there, you look at what's happening on the student campuses today. It reminds me of back in 66, 67, 68, that time frame. So today, what I see is there's not too much difference from back then to today.
MLK to me symbolizes, in the most important of things, strength, like a gentle strength, a gentle giant. Speak softly and carry a big stick, right? Like it's something that us as Americans do. And from the silent protests to sit-ins to the freedom marches, he carried the sorrow, the pain of African Americans since they were brought over to America. He's carried their pain on his shoulders, trying to give us freedom in the civil rights movement. So strength, he's strength in our movement.
Martin Luther King Jr. symbolizes obviously the civil rights movement, but more importantly, having a voice, being a voice to the people. He's such a great orator. He is able to rally a bunch of people, white, black, Asian, Latino, and by able to have everyone come together and support a movement.
The most important thing that we can do is to treat each other well, to treat each other with respect and dignity and equity. Dr. King was never attracted to the riches of the world. He would have rather built a throne for the people's power instead of a golden throne for himself to sit on. He would have rather had moral riches instead of material riches. That is what's important. It's important that we must daily don our moral vest so we can carry on the vision of Dr. King as he would have done.
From his vision, it's not necessarily just the day that I reflect on it, it's throughout my whole life, and I'm thankful for everything that he's done and everything that he's changed in the world.
It's like looking out every day, knowing here in the Armed Forces, like know who we're supporting, who we're serving for. We're serving for the American people, and along with that, every single person that lives here in this country, white, black, Asian, Mexican, we're fighting for pretty much everyone here, and that's what Martin Luther King reminds me day in and day out.
Yeah, I think basically that we've almost forgotten his lessons. If you look at, like I mentioned earlier, Antifa, you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, but if you look at what Martin Luther King had done and how he basically set the example, and he was a great humanitarian as far as I'm concerned. And you can learn from him by basically following the same rules that you want to have set for yourself and for others, and then understand the other side of the argument. Make sure that you basically listen. I think that's going to be really important. And then do not do anything that's untoward. You know what I mean? In other words, show respect for your fellow Marine, show respect for your fellow soldiers, airmen, sailors, etc. And for me, I think what's really important is the fact that you have to go through life not having any regrets. And I don't have regrets.